Okay, so on 3, it's from 0 to 5. And then there's not a hole, it's just this one little picture, so from there to there. So just f of x squared. Good on that one? So number 5 would be 0 to 2. There is a hole, it's 2 functions. You don't put the 2 functions together, but they're separate because they're part of 2 different parts. So it's going to be the f of x one is the one that's like the farthest away. So f of x will come first, and then g of x is closest, so then g of x will come second. So it will be f of x squared minus g of x squared. And it does get confusing whenever you're looking at f and g, but just think about this one has to be on top, so that's the f one. Alright, number 6. So it's from 0 to 3. There is a hole, and the hole is the curved part of it. So the part that you start with is actually the cylinder, and it's 2 wide. That's what the radius would be. So 2 squared minus, and then the curvy hole, which is f of x squared. Seven does look really weird. Okay, this one's kind of weird because as far as the hole goes, there is a hole, but it like connects in the middle, and then it's almost like there's 2 holes, sort of. But the hole is still the same part of the same function, so I can treat it as one hole. Okay, so the outside function is the line, because it's just f of x 2 there. So that one's the first one. The inside one is this curve thing, but because it's the same curve here and here, I can do all of that whole at the same time. Over here it's still g of x, and over here it's g of x. So even though it's almost like it's 2 little holes, I can do it all at the same time. So it's still minus g of x squared, and it's from wherever the intersections are. The 3 is there just to confuse you. So it's negative 1 to 2. Alright, number 8. So it's going to be from 2 to 6. And even though it's way over here, it's still connected to the x-axis. So when I rotate it, it's just one thing with no hole. So it's f of x squared. Alright. Number 9 is similar to number 5. It's just not connected to the x-axis. I still am going to go from 2 to 5. F of x is the one that's farthest away, so f of x comes first again, and then g of x. And then number 10 is from 0 to 4. And although it's curvy, there's still no hole, so it's just f of x. Okay, so for number 2, if I go around the y-axis, first of all, I know that there's a pi, and I know I'm going to go from 0 to 3. Alrighty, so I'm taking this part of going around the y-axis. There's no hole. It's just the filled-in bowl. And so I'm coming to the y-axis, so from the outside to the y-axis, so it's just one thing. So it's f of x, but I really need it to be in terms of y because we're going around the y-axis. And what that means as far as the equation goes, if it said like x equals, or y equals 2x minus 3, then you have to solve that for x to get it in terms of y, if it was an actual equation. Alright, let's look at one that has some kind of hole. Let's look at number 5. So if I go around the y-axis on this one, I'm going to do it from 0 to 4. And this time I'm starting from still starting from the y-axis, but I go as far away from the y-axis as I can. And so it matters that g of x is farthest on the y. So g of x comes first, or really g of y, and then f of y. So again, it matters, and it could be different from what it was of going around the x-axis. The one that's furthest away from what you're rotating around is the one that you start with. On number 7, I have an X there. I'm telling you can't do it. Do you know why you can't do 7? There's parts on both sides and it doesn't match up and all that. Now, you might could do it if it were symmetrical and it would match up, but when it's like that, I don't even know what that makes. So, let's look at 8. So on 8, it's still going to be 0 to 3 because I'm using the y-axis. And I'm going from the y-axis to the outside. So on this one, there is a hole. Notice with the x-axis, there wasn't. So that could totally change with y. But it's going to be the f of x one, and then my hole is the cylinder. How big is my cylinder? 2. And so just keep in mind that when you're thinking about going around the y-axis, your cylinder width is like how wide it is from here to here. When you were going around the x-axis and you had a cylinder, it was from here to here. So the way that you draw it was important as well. So on 3, it would be pi 0 to 4. There's no hole, so f of y. Good. Number 4 would be from 3 to 4. Careful not to go from 0 to 4 because that line is like the boundary. And again, there's no hole. So f of y squared. Number 6, again, no hole. And it's from 1 to 2. And f of y. Alright, number 9, there is a hole. And I think we're supposed to go from 1 to 4. I know that's hard to tell, but I think that's supposed to be 1. And again, I'm trying to go the farthest from the axis that we're rotating around. So that means G is the farthest, so G is going to come first. And then the last one is from 0 to 5. And there's no hole even though it's very crooked and curvy. And then f of y squared.